Nearly half of the America is wide open, underpopulated, and slowly being abandoned, not just in the middle of nowhere, but across entire states. From ghost towns and job loss to freezing winters and crumbling infrastructure, these places are watching people pack up and leave year after year. Despite beautiful landscapes and low housing costs, something just isn't adding up. Why are these vast parts of America being left behind? In this video, we're breaking down the 9 emptiest states in the country and uncovering the real reasons nobody wants to live there anymore. Number 9. Mississippi. Mississippi is known for its southern charm, blues music, and magnolia trees. But today it's better known for the number of people leaving. In fact, Mississippi has lost over 75,000 residents in the past decade. That's like an entire city vanishing. With a current population around 2.89 million, it's now one of the slowest growing, or should we say, shrinking, states in the country. Mississippi ranks dead last in median household income, just $52,985 compared to the national average of over $75,000. Poverty is stubbornly high at over 19%, and nearly 1 in 4 children live below the poverty line. Combine that with poor healthcare rankings, underfunded schools, and struggling infrastructure, and it's no wonder so many people are packing up. What's wild is that Mississippi is rich in natural resources, farmland, and cultural history. Yet economic opportunity feels stuck in reverse. Its unemployment rate hovers around 3.6%, but many of those jobs are in low-wage sectors. The state also battles one of the highest obesity and diabetes rates in America, with healthcare access limited in rural regions. Even Jackson, the state capital, has faced high-profile infrastructure failures. In 2022, a major water crisis left residents without safe drinking water for weeks. That kind of headline doesn't exactly help with attracting newcomers or retaining talent. So what's left? Cheap real estate, for sure. The median home price here is just $171,000, one of the lowest in the nation. But cheap doesn't always mean appealing when services and amenities fall short. For young people chasing tech jobs or better lifestyles, Mississippi isn't even on the radar. Despite its soulful music and warm hospitality, Mississippi's deep-rooted economic challenges and population decline land it firmly in our countdown of America's emptiest states. Number 8. Vermont. Vermont is stunning, let's be clear. Covered bridges, colorful fall foliage, maple syrup, and charming villages straight out of a postcard. But despite all that natural charm, Vermont has a big problem. Hardly anyone lives there. With a population of just 645,000, it's the second smallest state by population and has been losing people in rural areas for years. The issue? Limited job opportunities. Vermont's economy relies heavily on agriculture, tourism, and small local businesses. There's no booming tech hub or industrial center drawing in workers. In fact, the median household income hovers around $73,000, slightly below the U.S. average, but with higher than average taxes and housing costs. The median home price is a surprising $385,000, making it tough for young people or remote workers looking for affordable living. Winters in Vermont are another reason folks hesitate to move. With snowfall often exceeding 80 inches a year, heating bills soar while roads stay icy. Rural infrastructure struggles in places, and cell service and broadband coverage in the mountains can be spotty at best. What's more surprising? The median age in Vermont is 43, one of the oldest in the U.S. That means fewer working-age people and more retirees. A demographic trend that's slowly hollowing out entire towns. Even though the Green Mountain State scores high on safety, education, and health, many younger residents move away for better opportunities. There's simply not enough economic fuel to keep the state's future burning bright. Despite all the scenic beauty and small-town charm, Vermont's lack of growth, aging population, and high cost of living make it one of the emptiest states in America, and one where fewer and fewer people are choosing to put down roots. Number 7. West Virginia. Once a thriving coal capital of America, West Virginia has become a symbol of post-industrial decline. With a current population of around 1.77 million, the state has lost over 3% of its residents in just the past decade. That's more than 60,000 people gone. Not due to natural disasters, but slow economic and demographic erosion. The main culprit? the collapse of coal and manufacturing jobs. Once the heartbeat of the economy, those sectors have been gutted, leaving behind job deserts in many rural areas. Today, the median household income is just $53,706, one of the lowest in the country, and it gets worse. Nearly 17% of the population lives in poverty, and West Virginia consistently ranks near the bottom in healthcare access, education, and overall quality of life. Then there's the brain drain. West Virginia has one of the highest youth outmigration rates in the nation. Young people born here are leaving for good, heading to cities in Ohio, Virginia, and beyond in search of better opportunities and modern lifestyles. The state's median age is 43.5, making it one of the oldest populations in America. And while the Appalachian Mountains are breathtaking, they come with a downside: isolation. Many communities are tucked away in hard-to-reach areas with limited services, declining schools, and slow internet. Infrastructure challenges like outdated roads and bridges make life inconvenient, and economic development is slow to reach these areas, yet housing remains dirt cheap. You can still buy a home here for around $140,000, but many potential buyers are skeptical due to the lack of jobs and healthcare. West Virginia has soul, scenery, and tradition. But for many Americans, that's no longer enough. Its shrinking population and stagnant economy have left it one of the loneliest and most overlooked states in the country. Number 6. Nebraska. Nebraska is in the dead center of the country, and for many it feels like it's fading into the background. With just 1.96 million people spread across more than 77,000 square miles, Nebraska is the heartland in every sense. But it's also losing heart. Rural counties are emptying out. In fact, 2/3 of Nebraska's counties have lost population in the past 2 decades. Some are so depopulated, they're classified as frontier counties, with fewer than 6 people per square mile. Outside of Omaha and Lincoln, where most of the state's growth is concentrated, the story changes dramatically. Drive just an hour out and you'll find towns with boarded-up schools, declining hospitals, and entire blocks for sale. Automation in farming means fewer jobs, and many younger residents graduate and never look back. Nebraska has one of the highest outmigration rates among rural youth in the Midwest. The median household income is about $71,000, which sounds average, but incomes in rural towns can be significantly lower. And while the median home price is an affordable $245,000, demand in rural areas is so weak that some towns offer free plots of land or cash incentives just to attract new residents. Yes, you read that right. They'll pay you to live there. The state also battles a quiet weather war. With harsh winters, scorching summers, and tornadoes slicing across the plains, life on the land isn't easy. Public transportation is almost non-existent, so without a car, you're stranded. Internet access is also inconsistent in rural counties, a major red flag for remote workers. And even though Nebraska is safe, polite, and affordable, the lifestyle just doesn't appeal to most modern Americans. There's little nightlife, limited diversity in jobs, and vast distances between services. For many, Nebraska feels less like a place to grow and more like a place left behind. Unless major changes arrive, and soon, Nebraska's open skies may grow even emptier in the years to come. So, number 5, Montana. Montana is a land of legends: grizzly bears, Glacier National Park, ranches bigger than cities, and skies that stretch into infinity. But beneath that postcard beauty is a stark reality. Montana is emptying out in ways that are easy to overlook. Despite being the 4th largest state in land, its population is barely 1.15 million. And most of that is packed into just a few places like Bozeman, Missoula, and Billings. Step outside those city limits, and it's a whole different world. In eastern Montana, there are counties with fewer than 1 person per square mile. Yes, fewer than 1. Some of these counties have seen 30 to 40% population loss over the past 40 years. What's driving people away? A brutal combination of long winters, limited jobs, and rising living costs in the very cities that used to be affordable. Bozeman, for instance, now has a median home price over $630,000 thanks to out-of-state buyers and remote workers pushing up the market. Locals, especially those working in agriculture or retail, are being priced out. Yet outside the cities, there's a job vacuum. Farming is automated, mining is in decline, and few new industries are taking root. Montana's median household income is around $69,000, below the U.S. average, and much lower in rural towns. Healthcare access sparse. Some residents have to drive over 100 miles just to reach a hospital with specialists, and don't even think about getting fast internet in remote valleys. Broadband access is still a major problem. Then there's winter. In much of the state, snowfall exceeds 90 inches, and temperatures plunge below -20 degrees Fahrenheit regularly. Roads close, pipes freeze, and isolation becomes real. Beautiful as it may be, Montana can be unforgiving to those not prepared for its rugged lifestyle. Sure, there's freedom here and natural wonder, but for thousands, it's simply not enough to stay. The romance of the West is clashing with economic reality, and for many, Montana's wide-open spaces now feel less like opportunity and more like a reminder of who's no longer around. Number 4, South Dakota. If you've ever driven across South Dakota, you probably noticed something. Endless fields, small towns, and not a whole lot of people. With just 920,000 residents, South Dakota ranks near the bottom in population. Despite having more square miles than New York or Pennsylvania, the population density? A mere 11.5 people per square mile. Sure, the state is home to the iconic Mount Rushmore and the beautiful Black Hills. But beyond the tourist hubs, much of South Dakota is sparsely populated prairie, and it's getting emptier every year. While Sioux Falls and Rapid City are growing modestly, dozens of rural counties are shrinking fast. Some have lost over 25% of their population in the past 2 decades due to job scarcity and youth migration. South Dakota's economy leans heavily on agriculture, tourism, and small manufacturing, but not everyone thrives in those sectors. The median household income is around $72,000, which sounds decent, but rural wages are often much lower. Many small towns struggle with underfunded schools, aging infrastructure, and little access to healthcare. Winter, blizzards, sub-zero temperatures, and strong winds make for harsh living conditions. In fact, snowfalls can exceed 50 inches per year, and some areas are cut off for days during storms. Not exactly a selling point for new families or remote workers looking for comfort. Despite having no state income tax, the state's remoteness and lack of modern amenities make it hard to retain residents. Young people leave for cities like Minneapolis, Denver, or Omaha, chasing more vibrant job markets and nightlife. Even retirees often skip over South Dakota for warmer, more connected states. With its endless plains and historic landmarks, South Dakota has heart-me, but for many, it's just too far from everything else. Number 3, North Dakota. North Dakota is rugged, stoic, and seriously cold. This northern state may have had an oil boom in the 2010s, but fast forward to 2025, and it's a different story. With a population just under 780,000, North Dakota remains one of the least populated states in America, despite being bigger than all of New England combined in land area. The population density? Just 11 people per square mile, and in western counties it's even lower. Towns like Williston and Dickinson saw a population spike during the oil rush, but now many are dealing with declines, empty apartments, and fading investment. Some estimates suggest that dozens of rural counties have lost more than 20% of their population since 2000. Winters here are no joke. Temperatures can drop to -30 degrees Fahrenheit, and snowstorms regularly shut down highways. It's no wonder many young adults move away after high school. North Dakota has one of the highest out-migration rates for people under 30. Even though the median household income is around $74,000, that doesn't mean there's an abundance of well-paying, diverse jobs outside the oil and agriculture sectors. The loneliness factor is real. Social isolation is common in rural towns, and access to mental health services is scarce. Even in Fargo, the state's largest city, the nightlife and cultural scene pale in comparison to major metros. Internet speeds are still inconsistent in large parts of the state, a major issue for remote workers or tech startups. Yes, the state is safe, with low crime rates and clean air. And yes, homes are cheap. The median price is just $246,000. But low cost doesn't equal high appeal when people are freezing, far from amenities, and struggling to find a path forward. North Dakota has land, quiet, and simplicity. But for many Americans, that's not enough to call it home. Number 2. Alaska. Alaska is stunning. No argument there. Towering mountains, pristine glaciers, and endless wilderness make it one of the most beautiful places on Earth. But when it comes to actually living there, that's where the story changes. Despite being the largest state in the U.S., Alaska's population is only about 733,000, and it's shrinking fast. From 2020 to 2024, Alaska lost over 16,000 residents, and experts warn the trend is accelerating. The main reason? Isolation. Alaska is not just far from the rest of the U.S., it's cut off in every way. Geographically, economically, and socially. Many towns are accessible only by boat or plane, and shipping everyday items like groceries or medicine can take weeks and cost double. A gallon of milk in rural villages? Up to $10. Then there's the brutal climate. Winters last up to 8 months, with temperatures plunging below -40 degrees Fahrenheit in the interior. Darkness dominates the northern parts for weeks. Combine that with seasonal depression, sky-high heating costs, and unreliable infrastructure in remote areas. And it's no wonder people are fleeing. The median household income in Alaska is around $88,000, which seems high, until you factor in the inflated cost of living. Groceries, gas, and utilities cost up to 50% more than the national average. And don't forget, Alaska has a major outmigration problem, especially among younger workers who crave better job diversity and social life. Anchorage and Fairbanks hold most of the population, but even these cities struggle with housing shortages, crime, and aging infrastructure. Alaska offers a monthly oil dividend, around $1,300 per person annually, but that's hardly enough to compensate for the challenges. Alaska may be the last frontier, but for thousands of Americans, it's simply too extreme, too expensive, and too far from everything to stay. Number 1, Wyoming. Wyoming, the undisputed champion of wide-open nothingness. With just 578,000 residents, it's the least populated state in America, despite being the 10th largest by land area. That's right, Wyoming has more square miles than the entire United Kingdom, but fewer people than Milwaukee. The population density? A shocking 6 people per square mile. You could drive for hours and barely see another human being. While Yellowstone and Grand Teton draw millions of tourists, most of them don't stay. Beyond a few bustling towns like Cheyenne, Casper, and Jackson, Wyoming is empty, and getting emptier in some regions. The economy? Wyoming leans heavily on coal, oil, and gas. But as energy markets shift and climate policies tighten, these sectors face decline. Younger generations aren't sticking around to work the mines or the rigs. They're heading to Denver, Salt Lake City, or anywhere with more opportunity. The state's median household income is about $71,000, but job diversity is lacking, especially in rural areas. Then there's the wind. Wyoming is one of the windiest states in the U.S., with relentless gusts sweeping across the plains. Not exactly ideal for cozy living. And winters, frigid. Snowstorms regularly shut down roads, and blizzards can trap people in their homes for days. Housing is affordable. The median home price is around $300,000 depending on the region. But affordability alone doesn't solve the deeper issue: attraction. With limited amenities, few cultural hubs, and miles of isolation, many find it hard to build a social or professional life here. Even though Wyoming ranks high in safety, low taxes, and natural beauty, it feels more like a stunning backdrop than a livable community for many Americans. It's wild, it's open, it's untouched. And for better or worse, that's exactly why it's the emptiest state in America.